some of the most inspiring things that we've seen, images coming out from around the world of anti-war protesters.
Let's move on.
And of course, the ones that are most heartening and most inspiring are those protesters who have come out in Russia itself. Let's go ahead and put this VO up where you can see this is just one of many protests across the country in Russia. Keep in mind, there are reports that over 5,000 people have already been arrested. Of course, there's been reports of police brutality. This is an extraordinarily courageous thing to do, to come out in Russia, in Moscow, in St. Petersburg, and say no to war. And we have seen day after day after day, courageous, regular Russian citizens, some of whom say they've never been to a protest before, coming out to express their upset over what has happened here. And remember, part of what went wrong for Putin in terms of selling the population on this is that they were not able to fully lay the propaganda groundwork in order to persuade their population that this was truly a just war, that it was necessary, that they were, righteously going into Ukraine here. There had been all those reports from the intelligence community that, they're going to stage this big false flag and say that, we have to go in because there's genocide going on and we have to save the Russian nationals from the Ukrainian uber nationalists. They weren't really able to pull that off. And so now they've sort of told the population, this is just a peacekeeping mission. And you've got a lot of people who are looking at the same social media videos and things that are coming out that we are, that can see very clearly this is way beyond a peacekeeping mission. And there are deep ties, obviously, between Russia and Ukraine. A lot of the language I heard repeatedly, Saagar, from people was, these are our brothers. People who grew up in Ukraine, who have family that are living there,
ties.
Who are, in communication with little, cousins and brothers and sisters who are there, who are terrified, who are fearing for their lives. So we have no way of knowing what % of the population disagrees with this action, but I think because there have been thousands of people coming out in the streets facing very severe consequences for these actions, you can say there is at least a significant chunk of the Russian population that is not on board with this at all. We've also seen Russian celebrities kind of led the way. They're doing this from safe locales overseas and unlikely to be arrested in the same way that these individuals are. But this is also really
significant.
Families,
Krystal,
Yeah, this also takes, a lot of courage and can mean a lot and can kind of provide a spark and help to bolster a population in their ability to dissent. So a tennis star, Andrei Rublev, was at a tournament in Dubai over the weekend. And after his victory, take a look at what he writes on the camera.
2 sets, but Rublev said not so fast. And he might just have a message, Andrei Rublev. I think we can get behind that. The Russian.
And I saw Medvedev.
He wrote no more war.
He wrote no more war, for those who are listening, writes no more war on the camera lens there for everyone to see. I saw Dmitry Medvedev also made some comments saying, as a tennis player and someone who cares about travel, being an international figure, I always want peace. We also had Alexander Ovechkin, who is a hockey player for the Washington Capitals. Let's put this next tweet up on the screen. He wrote on his Instagram, he shared a picture of himself, and the caption says, "Please, no more war, Alexander Ovechkin." So these signs of dissent within the Russian population are significant. Again, we don't want to oversell it here, that you have a couple of the oligarchs, that you have, thousands of people in the streets willing to risk arrest, that you have a significant number of sort of Russian celebrities who are coming out against the war. These are all significant things, but we also don't want to oversell it and make it look like, Putin's about to, his regime is about to topple any day now.
Right, yeah, and the important part on that one is that the celebrities themselves, especially Ovechkin, he was very tight with Putin. Putin, long would take pictures with him and he would, and all of that. It's part of their soft power across the globe. So to have them speak out is incredibly, incredibly significant. And the current numbers are about 5,500 people have been detained at various anti-war protests since the invasion began on Thursday. That is according to an open source information monitor. There is no way to know we shouldn't oversell it. It's not like there are hundreds of thousands of people, but these people are very, very brave in order to come out.
Given
and
the
to
consequences of what it means to come out and what it means to get arrested, you know, the fact that you even have thousands of people on the streets is pretty extraordinary.
Oh, it's completely extraordinary. And we also see protests all across the world, especially also in Belarus. Let's go ahead and put this up there on the screen, which is you saw thousands of people gathered here surrounding the defense ministry in Belarus, actually chanting glory to Ukraine. Again, these are the real heroic protesters. They face actual jail time. I just saw this morning a Times of London correspondent who was detained at the protests, took a photo with his friends from the protests in the prison. He's like, I get to leave because I'm a foreign journalist. He's like, not my friends.
Yeah.
They're going to be in there for a long time. And they're not the only ones. The important thing is, and we talked about this before, when I was talking about Europe asleep at the wheel, I was like, where are the protests in Berlin? You know, I was like, you people all marched against the war in Iraq. I supported that. And I'm like, but you're about to have a war on your continent and you're not doing anything. Well, they showed up in a big way. Let's put this up there. Side-by-side images there from Berlin and from Prague. Prague obviously have its own history of being conquered and invaded by the Russians. But those Berlin protests are very significant because they show that the maximal pressure that is now being put on the government is from the population itself. It's not top down. The German people, by all accounts here, very outraged about what's happening in Ukraine. Obviously, the East Germans, anybody with history understands what it's like to live under Soviet occupation. But what's important to understand is that the groundswell of public opinion in Paris, in London, and in Berlin is all on the sides of definitely the most hawkish positions within Europe. That's what I'm going to be talking a lot about in my monologue. It's part of the reason why what Putin did is so dumb.
Yeah. According to media reports, 100,000 people at least came out in Berlin, 70,000 in Prague. I mean, that's amazing. It's really amazing. And this is just a tiny sample of the protest images and video that we could have shown you because they literally were global. I mean, there was not one corner of the globe that did not have some form of anti-war protest. I saw people protesting in Japan. There were even a few extremely brave souls in China.
Yeah, we saw this one guy in China doing it. Bro, just I urge you, you're a hero, but stay home, man. You don't need this. Yeah.
Protests in New York, I mean, really all over the world. So again, I don't know that Putin expected this level of global backlash, including from his own population.
No, it really has not. And, you know, I keep thinking back to, there was what Putin seems, in his 19th century mindset, something he's forgetting is that in the stark age of the internet, when you can see an image of I'm not saying it's enough to bring the full force to bear. You know, we all watched what happened in Syria. And look, that situation was complicated, so I'm not saying anything should have been done. But you can have mass genocide, as we've seen also campaigns in Yemen, elsewhere. But if enough people catch on and care, you will have significant backlash. And that is what I think he has underestimated, which is that in the age of the internet, and we found this out too in Iraq in 2003, when there are cameras, and same in Afghanistan, there's a lot of stuff that you just can't get away with that you used to be able to in the 19th century. So that's one of the updates that you have to make in modern warfare.
There's clearly a significant chunk of the Russian population that is not buying this as a peacekeeping.
No, and they're about to suffer, like really suffer. I feel so bad. I want to say this too, for these young Russians, because we're about to talk about this. They are, I mean, a whole generation of people my age and your age. They did not deserve this. They're westernized in many ways, right? Like they want to be able to travel to the West, and they like exchange programs and doing business and having the connections of a global capitalism. That's dead for them. They're going straight back to the days of autarky in a blink of an eye.
Yeah.
I feel really bad for them.
It is, I mean, they're suffering already. They're suffering when you see the massive crash in the financial situation of Russia that has happened in the blink of an eye. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching.
That's right. Just as a reminder, you can become a premium subscriber today. Watch the full show completely uncut, our reactions to each other's monologues. You get to listen to it. You get to ask us questions, all that good stuff. Link is right there in the description or at breakingpoints.com.
Best of all, great way to say screw you to the mainstream media.